This is Scott the Fix-It Guy. Today we're dealing with a Bosch dishwasher that won't heat up, and it can be due to many different reasons. It could be the heater relay that's hiding behind this panel, and it can also be that it's not filling with enough water, which is pretty common, and then you just need to put in a new fill valve. This is the part number for the new fill valve. It's not too hard to put in, and this is what the fill valve looks like. Just need a few tools, and today's video will show how to do that. So first thing, I'm just going to look in here to see how the water level is doing. We let it fill for about 5 minutes. We're going to come over here and take a look at how far the water level came up. In this case, it's not filling with enough water. It only came up not even to this filter ring. This ring we see on the filter, the water level should come up almost to the top, and we're not even coming up part way. So without enough water, doesn't create enough pressure to activate the heater. The heater doesn't work, it doesn't clean. So what we'll do to put in a new fill valve, we're going to use a Torx 15 driver. We're going to take out these perimeter screws that are holding in the front panel. If we get the front panel off, it's a little bit easier to do the procedure for putting in the new fill valve. So we're just going to zip those out. It can be done without removing the front panel, but again, it just makes it a little bit easier to get to. Coming over to the fuse box here and turning off the power to the dishwasher, just to make sure we don't get zapped. And now we're pulling off the front panel. So once you get the screws off, just pull down and the panel will come right out. And then down at the bottom here, we have a thing called the kick panel, and that's going to be removed usually with 2 Phillips head screws. And once we zip those out, we'll have good access to the fill valve. Now we can pull the toe kick panel out of the way. We have some nice sound insulation here. All you got to do is just grab it, pull it towards you. And there's a little cross piece here that we're going to remove too. Just 2 Torx screws. I think they're Torx 15. And we can get those out of the way. Just creating a little more room to make it easier to get to the fill valve. So move the right one. We remove the left one. We have to disconnect this plastic piece that protects the wires. Just going to push up on a little part of the plastic and that'll remove it from the brace. We'll get the brace out of the way. And now we're going to pull up a little bit on this hose that brings water into the dishwasher, into the sump. We're going to just kind of get it out of the way, create some more room, and we'll just remove 2 Torx 15 screws that are holding in the fill valve. First thing, we'll make sure we turn off the water. So usually that's located underneath the sink, and we're going to turn that valve all the way to the right, righty-tighty. Once we get it all the way to the right, give it a little extra push so you make sure you've really stopped the flow of water. Okay, and then we'll use some pliers to just spin that off to loosen it, and we can use our fingers to finish that off. I'm going to put a little towel there too, because some water will come out, not a lot, but just to avoid a mess. Get that off. Now we're twisting off the little brass L joint, getting that out of the way. I usually use a crescent wrench to loosen it. They're in there pretty tight. Remove those 2 Torx 15 screws. Now we've got the whole thing pulled out away from the dishwasher, we're going to put a standard head screwdriver in between this hose and the fill valve to loosen this hose, because they're on there really tight. I usually put it in there and then I twist it back and forth so I can pull it out. This is the old one, the old fill valve. Here's the new part number. And they're not very expensive. And here we're just checking the resistance value between the old one and the new one. And the resistance value is about the same, so it's probably not a worn out fill valve, probably just an obstructed fill valve. Some crud builds up over the years, gets caught in the filter, and it reduces the amount of flow of water. And then we just don't get enough water to come in the amount of time that the computer lets water come in. So we're putting a little bit of thread tape, Teflon thread tape, on the bigger side of this L joint. And on the small side you don't need tape because that's a compression fitting. But this bigger side, the one that screws into the fill valve, you do want to put this pipe tape on, Teflon tape, and we're going to screw that into the fill valve. And I usually use a wrench to get it tight. I want it to be slightly down and to the right. Okay, now I'm going to put the tube back on, the one that brings water into the dishwasher. And I'm going to get my clamp here to bring the spring clamp back into position. Let go of that. Got that on tight. Put the electrical connector back on. It's super easy. That just plugs right in, just a modular connection. Easiest part of the procedure. So we got that on. We got our water on. We're going to put this back into position. Then we'll add in the two Torx 15 screws. Get those tight. Got that, and then we're going to make sure we get this fill tube secured again with this plastic piece on the frame. And we'll put our water connection back on, finger tight it first. You can use a crescent wrench, or you can use a regular wrench or pliers to get it tight. It's a compression fitting, so you want to get it fairly tight. Okay, we'll turn the water back on. Lefty-loosey as far as it'll go. Okay, now we're putting the cross brace back in. We're going to connect the plastic piece to the cross brace. The plastic piece just protects the wires. And we'll push the brace back into position and add the two Torx 15 screws back in. Get the one here on the right done. Really speeds it up to have a driver here. It makes it so much faster. Put in the second one. Okay, we're doing good. We'll put our sound insulation back in. Nice piece of foam. Bosch, some of the quietest dishwashers out there, the way they're designed. It's really good. This is part of what dampens the sound. Okay, we're doing good. Almost done. We're going to put in the kick panel. It'll be just, in this model, a couple Phillips head screws hold it in. Get those tight. I'm going to put this little spacer piece back in. Just going to push it back onto the door. Got two of those. They kind of push the front panel away, fills the gap. So I'll put the front panel back on by pushing the upper part up into the control panel, and I'll push the bottom part in, and you'll feel it click into position. Then I'll open up the door. I'm still holding the panel on with my hand, and then I'll add these screws back in. Little Torx 15 screws. So I think there's 8 of them altogether, 8 or 9. So when the Bosch dishwasher doesn't get enough water, it won't heat the water. It doesn't activate a pressure switch. So it's really important that we get the right amount of water. Okay, we'll close that, turn the power back on at the fuse box, and we'll give it a little test. Open it up, see how the water level's doing. So now it's filling up to near the top of this plastic ring on the filter, which is great. So we have the right amount of water. Very good. And we'll let it run for a little bit and make sure that it's getting hot. Make sure it creates steam. Steam is really what cleans the dishes in the dishwasher and kills the pathogens, so the steam's really critical. So we're going to do a little test too. I'm going to bypass the door switch and then turn it on. And I just want to peek in there to see if the upper arm is spinning and spraying water. If it is, we know we have enough water and we have a pump that has enough pressure to activate the heater. So that looks really good. There's water squirting around everywhere. Yeah, that's perfect. So we know we have enough water and enough pump pressure. And I just want to now grab my little hook tool and pull the piece that I pushed down inside the door switch back toward me, kind of reset the door switch. You don't have to do this part. This is just a way for me to test to make sure I had enough pump pressure. So I'm going to close it, turn it back on, let it heat for a little bit, and then I'm going to look for whether it's creating steam or not. In the meantime, it'd be interesting to take apart the old fill valve and see if there is some crud caught in there. So I'm pulling out the little filter. I want to see what's in there. And it looks pretty bad. It looks like it was probably 70% occluded with junk that had built up over the years. And that was preventing enough water from coming into the dishwasher during the limited time that the computer lets water come in. So now we're looking and we got nice steam coming out of there. And that steam is a sign of a healthy dishwasher. Lots of steam. Very good. Well, I appreciate you guys watching, and please like the video and subscribe to our channel when you get a chance. Thanks again for watching.